you've dotted all your I's, you've crossed all your T's, you've done everything, you're ready to go, except you can't start. That last kick in the ass just won't come. So today I wanted to talk about one of the most difficult things that most of us men face. And it's all of us. Every single one of us faces this challenge. And it's been my experience, it's been the experience of clients that I've had, that is really only one way out of it. And that situation is when you're stuck. And by stuck, I don't necessarily mean you don't know what you want to do, or you don't know what you're fixing to get ready to want to do. I'm talking about when you've got a clear vision of what you want to do, where you can see it, you can see what you're creating, you can see the vision that you're creating, and you've got it all, whether it's blocked out, whether you've written it out, whether you've storyboarded it, whether it's all just mentally up here. Regardless of the situation, you've dotted all your I's, you've crossed all your T's, you've done everything, you're ready to go, except you can't start. That last kick in the ass just won't come. And you go to bed, you think, I think tomorrow. You go to bed, tomorrow, I'll start tomorrow. Be good to go tomorrow. And you wake up, and by like midday, your motivation is gone. Whatever little things have happened, whatever little bit of excuses, that you can find, they've stopped you. And even if they haven't really stopped you, you can just find yourself stuck and just wondering, how can I reconnect to that energy that I had? It was really good energy 3 days ago, and I planned all this out. And now I'm just sitting here, and I'm just like, and there's this thumping in our head that we get, and you guys know what I'm talking about. And it's almost where you can like feel your own pulse, because it's so empty and it's so quiet up there, and you just, why can't I take this step? Why can't I start? Why can't I start doing what I've been wanting to do, what I've been planning to do? And there's one trick that I found. I haven't heard anybody else talk about any other trick. The old Nike saying, just do it. Yes and no. Yes and no. And what I have found is that when you're stuck like that, go ahead and rewind in your mind a previous successful venture, something that you did, right? Whatever it was, whether, I went to massage school. So at some point I decided, I started, I finished, whatever it was, doesn't matter what it is. You go back and you rewind it, and this takes, serious, you need to find a spot to be quiet in, right? It's tough to find out these things, when you're surrounded by your dogs and your kids and whatnot. Maybe go for a walk, just try to get quiet, get centered, and rewind all the way to the beginning and remember the first thing that you did. Okay. Whether it be my first video, I put the flag up in the back of my van because I didn't have anywhere else to record. Right. And I did it. Okay. All right. Now, mentally, logically, right, as men, we think, okay, that's what I did. I just did it. Right. But that doesn't always, it really usually doesn't get us over that energetic hump. And what we will invariably find out, what we will realize, is that the impetus, the thing that got us moving, got us off of our ass, was something that we are taught to ignore, which is an emotion or a feeling. Okay. Now, men, obviously, we see how women can take an emotion and a feeling and take an action that's irrational, because it's not planned out. It's just boom. It's just in the moment. Now, as men, we're taught, don't show your emotions, et cetera, et cetera. Now, there's a difference to me between showing them and allowing yourself to feel them. Okay. And what I mean there is that, as an example, okay, I always bring up this example, 8th grade, 8th grade. I wasn't into my body or anything like that. I was a fishing kid, right? And a girl I had a crush on, she called me fat, right? And I didn't outwardly show it to anybody, but that gave me about 30 years of motivation in the gym, okay? And it was something I hadn't even thought about. I hadn't even thought about my body. And here was this outside thing coming in and saying, hey, no. And what was interesting during that time was that my dad had been going to the gym and he had a workout buddy, et cetera, et cetera. And, they had kind of wanted me to tag along a little bit. Nah, I'm going to go fishing. Nah, I'm going to play football in the street. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So the point is that I had an emotional reaction to being called fat, but instead of taking an irrational, unplanned action, I took that emotion and I applied it to an action that I had already logically planned out that I wanted to do for myself. You see what I'm saying? So if something comes at you and you don't like how it feels, okay, you don't like how that makes you feel, or whatever the case may be. Another case, another. I mean, this is a not as strong as an example, but we've all done it before, like, especially if you live in a colder climate. Okay. Here we're having a ridiculously early spring, right? And I've been thinking since January, soon I got to start doing the rose bushes and the cherry trees. I got to start trimming everything back. Well, spring came early, right? And now I see that I already got buds on the rose bushes. The cherry trees are getting ready to go. Not, they're budding. And so I waited too long. So, but I'm going to have to do it anyway. So I'm going to have to use that emotion of being irritated at myself that I waited too long to get me to do something that I already had planned on doing, right? So a lot of times what happens is we take these things that we feel, if somebody says something to us or something happens, we don't want to show how it feels to the world. That's number one, because number one, we're taught not to do that. And number two, let's be honest, unless it's like the one select male friend that we're cool with, if you show your feelings to the world as a man, at some point, that's going to come back to bite you in the ass and be used against you. So that's not what you need to do. But we all of us have the list of planned things. I'm going to start picking up my guitar. I'm going to learn how to sing. I'm going to get back to the gym. I got to get the boat out. I got to get whatever it is that we have already logically locked and loaded and ready to go. And we're just waiting for that push. We're just waiting to feel that, son of a bitch, now I'm doing it. Okay. It's okay to allow things to bother you, to feel those emotions, but then you take whatever emotion that is, whether it's anger, irritation, disappointment, frustration, whatever that negative emotion is, take that and apply it, even if it doesn't make complete logical, rational sense. You've already got something that you've logically, rationally planned out. Okay. So, somebody called you fat. You know what? My dad's been wanting me to get into the gym. Fine. Now I'm going to the gym. Okay. But I took that negative and I applied it in a positive manner. So I think what happens a lot of times with men is we see with women, they're like, boom, boom. They have a feeling, action, feeling, action, feeling, action. So we will tend to be like, well, we better not have those feelings. We better, because I see what women do with them. Okay. Women will tell everybody and then take an irrational action out of it. All right. For generally speaking, of course, obviously. But for men, don't try to pretend you don't feel it. Feel it. Just shut up about it. Don't tell anybody about it. And just take that card, take that, she pissed me off or that pissed me, take that, write it on a piece of paper, stick it in the file. Okay. And then when you get enough of those and your stuff and you're like, I am sick of this shit. You know what? I'm getting a kayak in the water. Today I'm going fishing. That's what I'm going to do. You already had a logical, rational response ready and locked and loaded and ready to go. You just needed that extra push. And sometimes, a lot of times, that extra push doesn't come from something that's directly related to the thing that you're going to get ready to do. So the point to it all is that somebody makes you feel something, somebody says something. Sometimes the best course of action is just zip it. Also, especially if it's your significant other, just eat it. That's what I say. I say just eat it, but hold it there. Okay. Maybe just put it in your mouth, chew it like chewing gum. Maybe don't swallow it and like leave it to where, you can't get back to it. But take it in, because one last thing, whether you want to call it the universe, you want to call it God, you want, however, whatever you want to call it, people are going to be used to say things to you that you need to hear that maybe you don't want to hear in that moment. That's going to happen. It's going to consistently happen. And when you open yourself up to the possibility that maybe that thing that they said that pisses you off might be right later on down the road, and you're able to just compartmentalize it. And like I said, write it on a piece of paper, put it in the file. If you're able to do that, eventually, when you've got this project, whatever it is that you're just stuck with, and you were just banging your head energetically every day, you just cannot get off your ass to get moving. Sometimes you can pull out one of those files, start reading it, get that little bit of buzz going, get that, this pissed me off. Fine. I'm doing the thing that I already had planned. That actually ends up being a positive thing. So that's the little trick. It's not a little trick. It's not easy because you have to be willing to feel things that as men we're taught not to feel. We're taught that don't take that stuff in, just be tough and gruff. But on the exterior, yes. On the interior, take it in and just learn how to use it.